Hey guys, my name's Trey Vital. This is a rig I want to show you all. So the model I found on Lunch Crunch. I'm sure if you guys are watching this video on Lunch Crunch, you guys saw this floating around a while ago. The artist's name is GIles Ruscoe. So like I said, I saw it, I liked it. The model was awesome, so I reached out to him, asked him if he wouldn't mind me rigging it. He was real cool about the whole thing, sent it on over to me and, let me go at it. So I was going to show you some of the features I put into this guy. And I'd also like to say thank you to Zach Galipsy and Thomas Hardy. They're a couple animators that I know, and they gave me a wish list of things that they'd like to see in a rig like this. And I put a lot of what they wanted in here, and I'm really excited to show you guys what's going on. So once again, thank you to Giles Ruscoe for handing me the model, and you guys can actually find his work on the link below. I put a link to his ArtStation account. So just click watch on YouTube if you're not already there, and it'll take you there. So we're just going to start from the head and work our way down. And before I get into the head, I'm just going to show you guys that we're just going to take a look at this topology, and you can see that the eyes are drawn in, and there's not necessarily a mouth cavity or anything, but all that said and done, I did manage to push the rig pretty far. So you do have a couple posing tools here in the ears, so you can kind of like get those into any kind of position you want. But like I was saying earlier, the animators gave me a lot of good feedback, and I'm noticing that they like subtlety and nuance, so you can kind of like play with a lot of the features in this character's ears. So those are some of the bend controls. You have some flap features, and then we have the twist. Just get to a side view so you guys can really see that. Also, you'll notice he has a lot of fur here and this beard, and I also gave the animators some control over that. You really don't want your character to be static in any place, especially where it's not supposed to be. So having this level of control allows you to get like that follow through or secondary action, and that kind of gives him that extra level of life. I also did something similar with his cheek fur. So if you guys just look right over there, you can see some of the stuff I put in there, and it has like breeze. So if he's running, he can like get his hair in the wind, and that's really going to do a lot in the way of giving him life and giving those animators that extra level of control. So we have that, and like you saw, his eyes are drawn in, but I did manage to fake a blink, so kind of push that. You can relax his brow, and then you can kind of emote through his eyes, like, what are you talking about? Fun expressions. And obviously his head completely moves, deforms, all that good stuff. So we're going to move on to the arms. You'll notice, we have the shoulder shrug here, and this is pretty standard in most rigs. However, he does have scapula controls, and the scapula you can actually move with the arm control, but the character is an anthro version of a tiger, obviously, and tigers are quads. So I have an animator, and he's been trying to push this guy into like an all-four pose, and when you get down there, these scapula are going to be really useful in bringing that character to life and kind of giving that quad feel to him. So like I said, you can move them in tandem, and then you can break that and clean up with the scapula, and that's really going to help to sell that quad feeling. So you got your other controls here. This is the FK mode. You can control the hand here, but both arms actually have IK FK switches. Let's go into IK mode, and you can pop this guy into an IK mode, move his hand, and then all the controls for his fingers reside on this. And you can curl those things down. Then you have your thumb control here. You can curl this as well. And then obviously you have the direct controls on top of it. So you have a lot of layer of controls right there. That's just for the arm. Obviously he can move. These are just basic deformations. Let's get into some of the more interesting things on this character. So the first things first, he has a dynamic FK tail. If you saw my podcast on the dynamic FK chain, this is essentially, it's exactly the same thing. And this is it in motion. So right now it's completely dynamic, and it will fall whenever you press play. But that will also take any kind of motion that the character is going through, and it'll dynamically react to it. But let's show you some of the other controls that you have with this tail. So it does have a complete FK function, and you can drive that through these attributes over here, bend, sway. It's really basic stuff, but you can also, once again, directly affect the geometry, or sorry, the icons. And I'm just like without any plan, kind of just playing with the tail here, and you can just see it's having a fun time just deforming and doing all this kind of stuff. So you can really push that. But also, some other fun stuff is you can come over here and play with the blend, and you can also get some free, I want to say free motion here. You'll notice that the tail's kind of falling, but what you can do is effectively play with the stiffness of the dynamic curve, and this is really sensitive. So I maxed it out at 0.5, but if we drop it to something like 0.3, let me zero this thing out as well. I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff. So if you do something like 0.3 and then you just kind of move the character, you'll notice you'll get that secondary action for free, and it's not falling through. So just another level of control there. You guys can really play around with that. And like I said, if you marry these two, or like partner like the stiffness with how much the dynamic is being affected by the FK, you can really zone in on the desired effect. So nice little level of control there. Then you got the center of gravity, and you can just like pop this guy into whatever pose you want, and you'll notice that we're getting some interpenetration there. I actually have a way around that. Boom. So the animator can actually come into here, grab these bad boys, and just affect that however he or she wants to. And you saw the topology of this, and it's mainly one solid piece. The only things that are really separate are the pads, the flaps and the knee pads. So giving the animator control of this just gives them that extra level of dynamicy. And animators don't like clutter, I'm finding. So if they're not using it, they don't need to see it. So that's just once again another level of control. Now we're going to get down to the feet. Now when I first did this is a complete IK leg, no switching to FK, but when I did this, I actually had this thing rigid bound, so it was hard piece sharp, but I actually just smooth bound it, and I found I like that result a bit better. You still get to see it, like it's there. It's just not demanding too much attention when it moves. So you got that. A lot of the feet control are driven. So you have this function. You can also pivot from the tip of the foot, and then the roll is also completely driven. But there's actually a feature in here that most basic rigs aren't coming with, and I didn't even know it was an issue until my animators told me about it. But effectively, the foot roll, I'm actually going to show you guys right now, you have direct controls influence too. They were saying that you can't curl the foot, and I was like, yes you can, and I went over here and I did it, and I was like, let me even show you back here. And so I dropped the foot up, or pulled the foot up, and then I went to affect this, and I was like, oh, okay. So what they were saying is that they're not getting that drag. So when they want this foot to come down, they want this to drag behind to give that extra layer of animation. So I did figure that out for him. Gave him the whole toe curl thing. And I'm actually glad that that problem came up, because I just didn't put it in that post to find out that that was actually an issue. So it is fixed, and it really isn't too hard, and I don't really get too many requests for FK legs. So this is a complete IK system, and that is an FK function just added into an attribute. So I will be doing a tutorial here soon about creating a character from scratch and then rigging it, and I'll definitely make sure that that's something I cover. But yeah, once again, hide controls that they don't need, and they're there if they want that extra level. But IK leg, it's done. And that, oh, nope, actually forgot about this little control. So he has the ability to fake a breathe. So you guys can play with that too. This is actually, was originally tied to an expression, and when you press the play button, the character would automatically breathe, and you could choose how fast and how deep those breaths went. That is, it's still, I have a file with that, but that's probably going to be a V2. But as far as him being functional and ready to like move and go, he's good to go. So there's that, and then finally wrapping everything up. I try and make all my rigs scalable and make sure that the orientation's right so they can be flipped. These are just things that I find that are very helpful, and I really don't feel like the rig's complete until that is a possibility. So yeah, this is the Tiger Rig. I had a lot of fun rigging it. I learned a lot from it. Like I said, thanks again, GIles, for letting me rig this. Thanks for trusting me for it. And Zach and Thomas, your input kind of made this possible. But yeah, I was really happy to collaborate. And if you guys are looking to do things like this, there's a guy named David Messias, and he's got this Kickstarter out called Real Friends or Palfolio, and it's actually a website dedicated to this kind of collaboration. You know, Giles modeled this, I rigged it, I got people lined up to like animate it. So he has a Kickstarter that has a website that is completely that. So I listed the link to that below as well. You know, just a side note, if you guys are really interested in this, check it out. But yeah, this is the rig. I'd like to thank everyone who had input, and I hope you guys like what you saw, and check back in for more.